Jim and Joe to give me some good news. It's 8 o'clock. Where are you guys? Waiting for my good news. Get your fat ass online already.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says. That was pass interference, offensive pass interference.
Yeah. Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
And you can win under pressure when it's there. You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
You know, I'm convinced that Jameis Winston is going to have an ESPN special 30 for 30.
Could be. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back for yet another edition of Football on the Know Show. And we are talking about the Madden ratings today.
Absolutely.
We are going to change those ratings for the better.
Yeah, and why the hell are the lights flickering right now? I don't get this. Why is that doing that? They're not exactly flickering, but something weird's going on tonight. It's going to be a crazy night, Joe. I'm psyched. NFL's going crazy here. A lot of news going on, too, along with the midst of the whole pandemic going on. And, whether there's going to be fans or not. And, whether they have to wear masks. There's no, jersey trading and all this nonsense.
They're wearing the masks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's a requirement now. The NFL just laid down the law on that.
All right, coming in early, it's Cody Cook is in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Cody?
Cody, what's going on, brother?
Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it's been nuts. And last week, the John Madden football came out again, the 21 ratings. They're talking about it, and everybody's upset with it. Even Lamar Jackson, despite getting like a rated a 94, which I don't get. He's a 94 when I think even on his rookie year he was like like a 70 something or something or other.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, but you got a 94. Yeah. Like, what's your problem? Why are you mad with that? But everybody's upset about all the whole ratings and what they get, their speed. Now I think Josh Allen and Mahomes upset about his powers less than Josh Allen, so he's even saying, Josh, let's get this done.
Let's do a contest.
I think, which is a great idea, though.
I think it'd be awesome. I think everybody would love to see that. I mean, we all know how strong Patrick Mahomes' arm is, but no one's really seen a display from Josh Allen to see. Everybody knows that has followed him through college that he has a really strong arm. He also has a cannon, but how strong is it? Is it stronger than Mahomes? Is Mahomes stronger than Josh Allen? That would be fun to see. And a while back, the NFL did used to have a strongest arm contest. It happened in the Pro Bowl. They kind of did away with it, but I wish they would bring it back. Maybe not necessarily for the Pro Bowl, but it would be fun to see before the season started or something, do some kind of a contest.
Absolutely. Talking about the strongest arm. Cody's in there coming in hot. Whoa, Jimmy, look like you just got back from the gym. Got to put away those guns. They're making the lights flicker.
See, he was onto something.
He is.
That's what it is.
Boom. He's onto it. He's definitely onto it. All right,
here we go. Your pale skin is making the
I
lights
know,
get
it's
all
very
like
basic. It's
control.
reflecting. That's what it is. It's reflecting off of me, and it's just flashing everywhere. But all right, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you guys are all having a good night, and you're excited for the upcoming season if it happens and stuff. But let's get into it. Madden 21 is going to be coming out. The ratings just came out for the launch ratings. We decide every year, we do this for the past couple of years, that we want to go through and re-rate all of them, change the ratings, because a lot of times, they go through, they're breaking sack rating, they're throwing under pressure, they keep adding more things, but they have a certain particular number for each of these. There's short distance, medium, deep, and
but more than that,
it doesn't even equal to what their overall is. Like, and again, how can you be a 99 with Patrick Mahomes here coming out being a 99? I just don't get it here. So,
but more than that, the other problem and the other caveat of all this is that they have ratings for things that don't even pertain to the quarterback position or pertain to the receivers or running backs or what have you. So those ratings, in our mind, should be completely just kicked right out of the whole rating system for that particular position. So when you got a kicking rating for, say, Patrick Mahomes at, like, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but 34. How does he have a kicking rating? How did Madden and these guys that do these ratings, how did they come up with a rating for that? We've never seen Mahomes kick. We've never seen some of these guys ever do any of the things that they're being rated for. So for those ratings, they just got to be scrapped, thrown out the window, and you only utilize the things that matter.
Absolutely. So let's look at that top 10 that they put out of the quarterbacks. We're doing quarterbacks tonight, and there it is. Patrick Mahomes at number 1, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady slips to number 5, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Desean Watson, and Carson Wentz. All right, so there's your top 10 list. So let's get into it. First of all, here, let's look at Patrick Mahomes. There he is. He is rated a 99, Joe. Now, what do you think about that 99 rating? Again, with Patrick Mahomes coming off a Super Bowl championship, I think it's a bit high again because I'm very crucial about these even things, too. Like, I don't think any player can really be a 99. You know what I'm saying? Like, closest one is probably Aaron Donald, again, because he's a nice all-around player. But even him, he's been able to get stopped at times and stuff. He's not, you can't be a 99. So,
well, I mean, to be a 99, you got to be great at everything that you do at that position. So for Patrick Mahomes, now listen, Patrick Mahomes isn't perfect. So to be a 99 as a quarterback, you can't make many mistakes, hardly at all. You got to be able to have everything covered. You got to have a strong arm. You got to be deadly accurate. You got to make good decisions. All of those all get attributed together, and that's what makes up the 99 ranking. But for Patrick Mahomes, I've seen him struggle this year. He's had his fair share of struggle through games or through halves or something like that. Even in the playoffs, he didn't look that great. He showed flashes from time to time, but wasn't phenomenal. So does that mean when you get that 99 rating, that means elite? Now, Patrick Mahomes been playing in the league for 2 years, has been in the league for 3, but a 99 rating this early in his career, and for them to basically say that he is elite already and he doesn't make any mistakes, sorry. But as a quarterback, we've seen some flaws that he has, and that shouldn't be as high as it is.
That's right. And here he goes, Dave Rourke in the house. He says, Dak Prescott,
Welcome,
WTF,
Dave.
how is he even in the top 10? Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
Horse shit!
Yeah, I agree, too. Yeah, I just don't get it.
100%.
I don't know why he's in there, too. But
now,
who knows? This is their ratings.
Right,
though.
what you're seeing is the Madden 21 ratings right now for the top 10 quarterbacks. And then we are going to re-rate
them. And this is based on their data again.
Yep.
We've gone through everything that matters for a quarterback. And now looking at Patrick Mahomes, he is now downgraded to a 93. He is a 93 now overall, not a 99. Again, when you look at his throw power, accuracy, thrown under pressure, breaking sack rating or whatever the hell it is now,
right.
93 now. Now a little more down to earth. Not so much of a because we even saw last year in the playoffs. Again, he's not perfect. I mean, he makes mistakes. He's still growing. He's young. He can't be a 99 right now at this point.
I mean, especially he's still really young. He's still developing as a quarterback, even though he's playing very well for the Kansas City Chiefs. Heck, in 2 years, the guy's won a Super Bowl. It's pretty miraculous. But nonetheless, I would agree with that rating being a 93 versus 99. That makes more sense. He can go up from there. You know what I mean? He just got to keep getting better with the week in and week out games.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, we will be going to Russell Wilson. Let's take a look at him in a second here. He's got to get his rating up. And here we go. Russell Wilson now at number 2. He is a 97 now. So even some people would say this is probably even a nice even spot here. Russell Wilson, one of the top 5 running quarterbacks in the NFL here. Still young, still productive too. Does a lot all in with Seattle down there, even with not a lot of weapons at times. He was without Doug Baldwin all last year. So there he is here. Russell Wilson at 97. What do you think about that, Joe, so far?
97 for Russell Wilson, I respect it, but I don't know if I agree with it completely. Maybe around 96, 95 I'd be okay with, but nonetheless, it's still around that ballpark. He's been in the league for several years. He's proven year in and year out that he is one of those elite quarterbacks in the league, and he gets paid like it too. So, with him now having some different type of weapons, he relies heavily on Tyler Lockett, and he has a new weapon that he had this past year as a rookie, DK Metcalf, who he hopes to grow with chemistry going forward.
Absolutely. So here we go. We did crunch the numbers, and here we go. We have now Russell Wilson at a 94 now. He is one tick above Patrick Mahomes now. So he overtakes the number 1 spot here so far in our top 10 quarterbacks with Russell Wilson there moving in there. So what do you think about that so far and the change there and the fluctuation of that there with Russell Wilson?
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, that's kind of close to where I was like hoping it would be, around 95 or so, and it's a 94. So, I mean, I agree with that. He's got a bigger body of work. He's won Super Bowls. He's on the top of his game. He's still in his prime. I mean, and there's not a lot to dislike about Russell Wilson's game.
All right, and like we brought it up here just a little bit earlier here at number 3, it's Lamar Jackson. He is ranked at 94 overall, and again, a step up, a huge leap up from last year where they graded him low, started off, but his speed, the thing is, and the running ability that he had, he was still a cheat code for Madden players there with Lamar Jackson. We got to see what happened with him during the season, and I think this is why a lot of these guys, again, elevated so much, and when they do these ratings, it's not exactly on skill altogether, it's what they did and what they did for their team and how the team overall finished. Because, again, Lamar Jackson, still not a polished quarterback here, has brilliant ability here to run and be elusive that opens up lanes for the passing game, and that's where he's special.
Yeah, the other thing about Lamar is the offense that he's in. It's a very unique and hard to figure out for defensive coordinators thus far. It's more of an option play on each down. He could hand it off to A, B, or even C guy, or he could throw it to the tight end. There's a lot of confusion on the football field for defenses to figure out, and that also helps him. But I will give him credit. As much as I thought coming out of college, I wasn't really high on Lamar Jackson. I didn't think he would even be this good as far as throwing the football. He really did work his tail off in the last offseason, and to get better at simply just making better passes, better footwork, better decisions, and it paid off. So we've seen the huge improvement from last season now. Now he's looking to maybe make that even better for potentially the upcoming season this year. And 94, I do believe that's a little too high. He's still early in his development. So let's see where he goes this season. And what do you have for the next rating?
All right, so he's going to be a 92 now after we went through all the numbers again, added all in, even his running ability, elusiveness in the pocket, and being able to get out of there, and also the QB IQ with the awareness and things. So there you go. He's still a 92, which again I think is a little more down to earth for Lamar Jackson altogether.
Yeah, but I definitely do think that elusiveness that he has, the speed that he carries with that position, it makes that rating jump a little bit higher too. In my eyes, I still think he should be somewhere around a 90, 91, maybe 89 for my taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can agree with that as well too. Yeah, I can see you there too. All right, now moving next is our number 3, I think, quarterback here, or 4. It's Drew Brees here. Drew Brees comes in at a 93. Again, I still think playing at a high high ability right now. Basically, he's still doing well. A lot of people think he's taking a step back. I don't really see it. Yes, he got injured last year, but that would even take up for some of the numbers that are moving backwards here. Still has Alvin Kamara there in the running game, and also Taysom Hill added to that too. So I think the style of packages that the coaches, Sean Payton, is putting together here doesn't really rely so much on what he has to do to run this offense either.
With Sean Payton, he is changing his play calling on the football field a little bit, critiquing it, getting Taysom Hill involved once in a while. But nonetheless, I still think Drew Brees is going to have a really good year. It's going to definitely depend, we all already know, on health. But if he stays healthy, with the weapons that he has right now, you got to remember, too, is they just obtained Emmanuel Sanders to team him up with Michael Thomas. That duo right there is going to be deadly, not to mention the tight end with Jared Cook. We already know Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. So this offense, with this offensive line, how stout they are, I can only see Drew Brees trending upward this season.
Absolutely. So let's look at his rating after we went back through it. And he drops significantly to an 84.
My God.
This is how they did Drew Brees dirty, okay? This is one major thing here. Mind blown here. I just don't get it, what they did with Drew Brees.
Wow.
Yeah, it is nuts.
Wow.
An 84. Like all the throwing stats and things like that, what hurt him a lot again is that new. It happened, I think, last year. They added it, the breaking sack rating. That I don't think he can break sacks, get out of pressure and things like that. That's what forced, I think, a lot of it. I think he's rated somewhere near the 40s or something like that. That was a major hit. But then even some of his accuracy, besides only his short, I think they hated it on
really?
too as well.
Wow, that's crazy. EA Sports,
you're
smoking something good, because I cannot believe you lowered this man's career that much in terms for this upcoming season. An 84 from a 93. I think that's crazy. That is crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, Drew Brees taking the hit there. Tom Brady now moving forward is going to be number 5 here. And what rating does he have? He has a 90 altogether.
And Tom Brady, he's with a new team now.
There he is.
So altogether, new team, different. I mean, we don't know what this offense is going to. Obviously, we just assume that it's going to resemble a little bit and be more similar to what he was running up north, more of a short to intermediate type of throwing package and getting the ball out of his hand quick. And utilizing these great weapons that he's going to have. I mean, best weapons he's ever thrown to his whole entire career. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. What? Are you kidding me? I mean, so Tom Brady's got to be super ecstatic to be able to get the ball rolling. He wants all these players want the season to happen. They all want to perform. And Brady, no more than Brady, wants to prove the doubters wrong.
Absolutely. So as we crunch the numbers here, John Brady drops from a 90 to an 85 when we go over it all. Again, taking a step back here. The thing is, what I thought interesting when I redid all this here, using the data that they have given us here.
Yep.
It wasn't so much even the deep ball. They penalized him a lot. Deep ball was not very accurate. Still had the high. I actually had only a 91 IQ. So some of these other guys, younger guys, I think even Patrick Mahomes had a better awareness than Tom Brady, which I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. And some of these other things that were rated lower, I did not understand. Even I think it was injury rating or something like that was fairly low. And I didn't get it. The guy got injured like once or something.
Yeah,
so, I don't understand that.
I'm sorry. I mean, you pass with flying colors if you can even obtain the Patriots playbook. Hello, the most difficult offense in the NFL to learn, and Tom Brady learned it with ease. I mean, the guy's super smart, so I don't understand that kind of a rating for him to be lower than expected. I had definitely expected high 90s for that category.
Yeah, for it to drop down to that is pretty amazing. But again,
Tom Brady's going to be exciting this year. It's different, it's new, it's fresh. Tampa Bay fans got to be going ballistic because not only did they get Tom, but they got father time in a tight end in Rob Gronkowski. Who knows if he's going to last all season. I mean, he has been fragile. The last couple of seasons he was with the Patriots, he had a whole season off. He comes back. What's to say he's going to get hurt in the first few weeks?
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, though. So I think him going from a 90 to an 85 is even kind of roughly maybe where he could be this season. Again, we see Father Time is starting to catch up with him a little bit. He has taken kind of a step back with all of that. Again, I just think they penalized him in the wrong areas when they did all the ratings here. I think that's generally could be possibly where he is.
I agree
but
with
it's kind of the unknown that we're going to see over in Tampa Bay, because also, like you said, we have all the weapons right there for him at his use that he didn't really have so much. He made kind of names over there for players in New England, guys like Julian Edelman and Wes Welker and things like that.
Yeah, and you look at that tight end group now that he has to throw to. I mean, they could do dual tight ends. They could even break out a trio of tight ends on the football field at the same time when you got Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and O.J. Howard. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Think of the creativity that Bruce Arians and company can have with this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, moving on to our next one, Aaron Rodgers. He comes in at an 89 here at sixth place with an 89.
Oh, so, Aaron.
Joe, yeah, what do you think about that? Still up there, rated fairly high again, off of the 90s. Again, maybe they are taking injuries in play. I think stamina, I think, was fairly low, too, on that. But again, I think overall arm and things like that, he still has it. It's just he's getting banged up a lot. So I think that's where he's kind of hindered a little bit, had taken a step back. They rate him an 89. I still I like that kind of rating in a sense too, but maybe even a tick higher or so.
Yeah, even. I mean, for me, I would do like a 91. Mm-hmm. For Aaron Rodgers now,
right? And
they have to be taking into consideration injuries because there's no other reason why his rating would be an 89 if it wasn't about injuries. Because I've seen this past season that we watched with Aaron Rodgers, I've seen him make some amazing throws. I mean, stuff that you shouldn't be able to complete, and he drops it right in the basket to the receiver. So I think this has to solely be about injuries. There's no question about it. If it wasn't for being injured, he would easily be in the low-end 90s.
All right, after we crunch the numbers from the data that they have given us here for Madden, it still is an 89. After everything they do, they did them dirty on some things again, but overall, with the elusiveness and
Still
awareness that
up.
they have there too, it's an 89. So they might have been on the mark there with all the information that they had there too.
He might prove EA Sports wrong this season.
Perhaps, and he's the guy that always has a chip on his shoulder anyways, for what he does.
Yeah.
They don't ever, respect him enough there too. So is he going to come out here and try and make something happen? You saw even at times last season to where he was complaining that he wasn't getting enough help on his receiver help, here and there too.
Yep.
He missed Devontae Adams for a bit there too. So he constantly has to do a lot on his own.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too is don't forget, this guy hasn't had the best supporting cast. I mean, you bring up Devontae Adams, who is a stud. He's just one of the best receivers in the league. But after him, last season, who did he have to throw to other than that? I mean, some people are going to point to Jimmy Graham, but Jimmy Graham wasn't really a focal point in that offense as much as people were hoping for. Even despite the lackluster talent after that in the receiver rotation. A lot of youngsters trying to make a name for himself. I did like Lazard there. He kind of showed up for Aaron Rodgers when he was needed. But these receivers that they have there, they got to develop even further and get even better in order for Aaron Rodgers to outperform his rating that they gave him.
Absolutely. And now that brings us to Maddie Ice here. Maddie Ice comes in here at an 87. What do you think so far about that 87, Joe? And Maddie Ice, he's been one of the top tier kind of echelon guys. He's more like, everybody said maybe a tier 2 guy, along there with Ben Roethlisberger, stuff like that for a while. He made it to the big game. Couldn't exactly get it done there too. It showed his little bit of flaws that he's had there too, despite being a man called Maddie Ice. We've seen in the playoffs where that play to Tony Gonzalez where he overthrew him, where they would have made it to the Super Bowl. So many NFC Championship games he's gone to, and then not been able to get it done. Same thing in the Super Bowl. Everybody remembers 28-3. So Maddie Ice coming in at 87. Let's go and see what you think about that now, Joe.
Well, I mean, we can't blame Maddie Ice for everything. I mean, there is offensive coordinators involved. So if they're throwing the ball in the second half when they should be running, it's not on him. He can't make the audibles. They're not allowing him to. But simply, Maddie Ice, I think he's better than what people think he is. We do see meltdowns from time to time late in the games when he's trying to come back and he might make an erratic decision just to get rid of the football too quickly and ends up throwing a pick or something like that. And that's what a lot of the fans seem to focus on. But really, statistically, this guy, he's up there with a lot of these quarterbacks in the top 10. He is as good as people, well, actually, he's good. He's better than people think. You look at what his stats in and year out, he's right up there in the top 10 easily in that conversation. You can make the debate either way. But Maddie Ice at 87, I mean, for me, I think that's a fair rating for him. Now, he hasn't had the best of luck, obviously, and he's made some bad decisions, but overall, he's a really darn good quarterback. And he deserves to have a solid rating, at least at 87.
All right, so then we did the numbers here again. It comes out to an 84. He drops to an 84. 3 ticks down to
Not
an
bad.
84. So down there, below there. But what's funny is, again, Drew Brees so far been the biggest drop from a 93 to an 84 now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With Maddie Ice. So now when you talk about those two numbers together and those two guys, I mean, do you see that them being in the same tier?
No way.
Quarterback.
No way. I'm sorry. Atlanta fans, you got to admit this too. Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. There's no question. I understand, he may be older and everything, but he is an amazing quarterback. And for him to have an 84 rating and Ryan to have that same rating. I'm sorry, Drew Brees should have been higher. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, definitely. So that moves us next to the next quarterback on the list, and coming in at number 8 is none other than Desean Watson here, coming in at an 86 from the Houston Texans. Desean Watson, again, a young and up-and-coming quarterback. Again, getting dissed, I think, by the Madden again. He's up there, with the young, youthful guys. You see, what it is I think you see Mahomes, Jackson up there. He was coming out around the same time, and then so he figures he's one of and the Houston Texans making the playoffs. He's one of those upper echelon guys that are there, and when you bring him back to the tail end of the top 10, kind of feels a little bit left out, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Here's something else that it just kind of popped in my mind is what EA Sports also could be doing is focusing on personnel. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at what the Houston Texans had last year. Mm-hmm. Let's just say the elephant in the room, DeAndre Hopkins is no longer a Texan, and that's going to hugely affect Desean Watson as a player going forward. Listen, he's got the likes of now. He has Will Fuller, who cannot stay healthy to save his life. He's got Randall Cobb, who's coming in, retread receiver. Maybe he sticks at the slot receiver position. Maybe he can move the sticks from time to time. And then you also they went in and pulled out a trade for Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, who's only been seen as a deep threat. I've never seen Brandon Cooks be used as a multi-dimensional type of receiver where they utilize the whole route tree with the guy. It seems like any team he goes on, they're like, just run straight. If you get open, we'll just bomb it to you. So I'm interested to see what the genius Bill O'Brien what he has up his sleeves with this new personnel. Now, Desean Watson's not happy at all in Houston. And if I was any team looking for a quarterback or even thinking about it, I would call Bill O'Brien right now because you might be able to get Desean Watson for a bag of peanuts at this point.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, he basically gave away Hopkins for nothing. Mm-hmm. He got an injured running back in a third round pick or second round pick? Second round pick. Second round pick, basically, and an injured running back for one of the best receivers in the game. So,
absolutely
insane. So,
all right, so let's look at his numbers moving forward, and he comes from an 86 to an 89, Joe. He moves right up there. So now when we think that he's being dissed here by EA, if you look at his stats that they crunched together here, it comes out to an 89. So really, it's like they give him love, with his ability that they have.
Right.
But again, I think just maybe where the team plays possibly again. I mean, they did go far, but then not being able to make it. And then I'm not sure, exactly, again, why the 86? Now, a lot of other things that add up to becoming a great quarterback, especially what they do in the NFL here on EA Sports. 86. I just didn't get it here with an 89. I think that's closer to where he is, I think, in a sense of how he's played.
I think he should be in the 90s, low-end 90s, maybe 91, maybe 92. I think he should be up in that conversation because we've seen him now as a rookie kind of take a big step forward in his development, and it seems like every season now he's just getting better and better and better. Now, that does play a factor when you have great weapons to throw to. Now it's going to be completely different for him. So as much as they originally had an 86, we got an 89 for him. Mm-hmm. I'm not too confident this season for that offense with the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that moves us next into the 9th overall. It is Carson Wentz here. Wentz still getting a little bit of love here, cracking the top 10. Again, talk about a guy who's being injured all the time. This guy lays his neck out there for this team. And what's funny is I think even they rated his injury was better than his stamina, which I didn't get because that dude works hard throughout the game, constantly making plays when a lot of of his teammates, weren't doing it. They had a lot of injuries too at times. Yep. So he was doing a lot of it on his own. And, then he gets banged up and injured because he's trying to get every little first down, every little step into the end zone. But Carson Wentz coming in here at an 84. Joe, what do you think so far about that?
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz, 84, I guess I'm okay with that and is somewhere in that range because he does get injured a lot, though. It seems like every season he's getting banged up. He's taking a hit. He's not sliding. He's not getting out of bounds. The guy's just got to learn to stop taking hits. I understand he's trying to get the first down. He's trying to scramble and make a difference. but he just has to be smart. If he's smart and doesn't take those unnecessary hits, then he's going to be even better of a quarterback. We've seen flashes of him playing very well on the football field when healthy. And now he's got some new toys that he's going to be playing, that he gets to play with. Rookie Jaylen Rieger, who the Eagles were very high on. I don't know why they didn't take Justin Jefferson at the time, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what they saw.
Absolutely. Cody Cook steps in here. He says, I think Wentz got dissed bad. Man still has elite talent and puts up great numbers with nothing around him. All of his weapons are constantly hurt, and he still has a top 10 stats when healthy. Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, we see where it's just, 2 seasons removed to where he was leading the Philadelphia Eagles.
Making a push for this.
Making a push for the playoffs to where Nick Foles stepped in and was able to finish off the rest. So it stinks because, I mean, how about that guy to say, I have a Super Bowl ring or whatever, a championship ring. I got us there to a sense, but wasn't able to get done. I feel maybe like I haven't earned this, but I have. You know, I mean, it's got to be tough for Carson Wentz there too.
But that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. Always getting injured. He's got to stop taking unnecessary hits. And he'll listen, you got to be available for your team in order to make a difference. Now, he was doing a great job, but it just seems like he just keeps getting hit and hit and hit, and then ends up getting injured, and you can't help
it. I
him.
wonder how that's going to relay into the video game. All right, so we did the re-rating here, and it comes out to an 86. He goes 2 ticks higher. So maybe, Cody, is this kind of more what you're thinking about? I mean, just a little better, sniffing those, a little bit higher 80s, closer to a 90. That shows that, he's above. Like, so if you want to do grades like a B, B+, you know what I'm saying? Like 85 up and, like a B+. He's not an A guy. He's like in between there. Can get it done. Still solid franchise quarterback. That's a little tick better there for Carson Wentz.
A little bit better.
What do you think so far? With that Philadelphia team that they have there.
I mean, I think he deserves in that realm of 86, 87, maybe even 88. But again, the biggest problem for Carson Wentz is he's got to stay healthy. And Cody also brought up a good point, was his players around him need to stay healthy. That whole team just seems to get injured. Defensively, offensively, they just got to, and they just re-signed Jason Peters, who, again, a guy that's getting a little longer in the tooth on the offensive line. I don't know where he's going to play. Probably guard, maybe, because I believe Brooks is hurt. So he looks like he might slot in at guard for the Eagles. But nonetheless, everyone's just got to stay healthy on the Eagles, and we're able to finally see what they're really capable of.
All right, finally, we have our 10th here, the top 10 here. Dak Prescott. I know Dave Rourke earlier tonight said he had an issue with this being in the top 10. Dak Prescott, an 84 rating here. I think that kind of is close to, again, what he is. I mean, even though, again, the stats will tell you different, he has a pretty good completion percentage, but you're looking at the ball distance per gain and stuff, and that's kind of a smaller number. Even that's what some offenses are trying to do. They're trying to mimic to what the Patriots trying to do here. They are more of a run game type of offense here to get Zeke get it going, and then Dak Prescott, they run off a play action to get him going. But he has great receivers now too. Also, they added CeeDee Lamb to the mix. Dissed a little bit here too. I think he feels, again, 84. He wants to be paid high elite numbers here. One of the top tier quarterbacks. 84, I think, is nice though, right there. I'd say that because I said, I like what he does. He does well. He's not the worst, but he's not super elite. I think an 84 is a nice look for him.
Yeah. I mean, Dak Prescott, he is a good quarterback. You can't deny that. It's not like he's a terrible quarterback, although he does have his own issues. When the game is on the line and it's all on him and he's got to make every throw to get the team down there. They can't run the ball anymore. You're running out of time. He just seems to come up short. But Dak Prescott, he does have good numbers. He does work well with the offense that they utilize with a heavy running game. And why wouldn't you with that beast in the backfield and Ezekiel Elliott? Ezekiel Elliott thinks he's being disrespected by the media lately.
Oh, yeah?
Thinks that he's not getting enough credit for his play on the football field and how much he is involved in the offense. So he got a little upset and kind of made it a little publicly known that he demands his respect. And I think he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder this upcoming season. He's going to probably prove a point there.
All right, well, we'll see some of that. So Dak Prescott.
One other thing I wanted to say, too, is the receiving core is well-rounded, but we just don't know how good these guys are. CeeDee Lamb is a rookie. He hasn't even stepped on the football field. He was projected to be the number 1 rookie coming out at wide receiver. but didn't go number 1. So he slid a little farther down to the 17th pick for the Cowboys to take him. And with Amari Cooper, who just re-signed for a boatload of money, I disagree with that. I don't think he's worth that. And Michael Gallup, who I really do like, I think he's a little bit of a gem for Dallas, and he just seems to be getting better and better every single week he plays. I'll look for him to have a breakout season.
Cody Cook joins us. He says, I think Stafford belongs in the top 10 personally. Yeah, he was hurt last year, but when he was on the field, he was putting up MVP-like numbers. And Detroit, I think, is a funny team here. Last year, again, despite what their record ended up being, I think they were in a lot of games, and they were like one of those surprise teams. It's like in the early on part of that season, you're kind of like, whoa, what is this team? Look at these guys. And then Stafford goes down. You have Blau comes in trying to make it work. And it looks like they were sticking tight they were going tight with the Chiefs. They were keeping it close for a little bit, and then they let the wheels get out from under them. And with a few more injuries and just I think the team finally giving up, they lost like the last 4 or 6 games or so. So that's where they knocked themselves out of any kind of contention. But for a little bit, they're in there. Stafford, I like Stafford too, but I'll get to his numbers. Actually, I'll just rip this up after this. So here, we'll just get right to
the only thing, with Stafford, I feel terrible for this guy. This guy is an elite quarterback. Some people don't believe that, but he is. He's an elite quarterback. He does everything super well. The guy's amazing. Deadly accurate, super strong arm, makes great decisions, has great footwork. He does everything well. And even when he's banged up and hurt, he's still out there slinging the rock and delivering it right on the dime. The guy does so much for the city of Detroit and the Detroit Lions. It's uncanny with no talent around him. They traded away one of his most reliable targets in Golden Tate. Moved on from him. Marvin Jones Jr., and now they got Kenny Galladay, who's a nice up-and-coming talent for them. But there's not enough surrounding weapons after that. There's nobody. And his offensive line is a sieve. They can't protect the guy. So for him to be there as long as he has in his career and for the Detroit Lions to not surround this franchise quarterback that they found who could bring him to a Super Bowl, they just neglect to help him out, and it's showing on the football field. It's absolutely terrible. Stafford should demand a trade right now.
Well, they ended up giving him an 83 rating overall. I think where they graded him low was breaking sack is 79, which isn't even that poor. Agility 73. I think his agility here and there was what hindered him a bit, but then also his accuracies. His short ended up being 88, and then 85 for medium, 87 long, 85 with play action, and 82 on the run. So a lot of 80s in between, which I think again is kind of a diss in a sense there too. So overall, when we crunched his numbers, he ended up being an 84, so he went up a tick there. He would have been close to sniffing some of these if some of these guys did not take a step up. But look at Dak Prescott at number 10, going from an 84 to an 88. Now, in 88, Dak Prescott, that's right, Rain Dakota Prescott, goes from an 84, where people are thinking that he's not even in the top 10, to an 88. What? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying now. Now people are losing their freaking minds, aren't they, too? It's you got to be thinking, like, what is Madden doing? Again, they are in love with this guy. The ratings that they were giving him on some of his pass attempts were astonishing. And the throw under pressure, I think, for him was even an 87, which I think that's where he falters, and that should have been, if you're giving Matthew Stafford a 79, I think Dak Prescott needs to be a 73 or 75 then, throwing under pressure, because you saw at times that's where he cannot get it done.
Right, absolutely. And, that's the thing, Dak Prescott too, listen, I don't want to sound biased here, but the Cowboys are usually like a favorite of the ranking system and everything. They try to help them out, but maybe EA Sports is reading too much into it, because now that you have the draft come and they're like, oh, well, we got CeeDee Lamb in the draft, and we got Amari Cooper re-signed, and we got Michael Gallup. Oh, man, I don't know. Dak Prescott's there with Ezekiel Elliott. This offense could really explode. Yeah, it looks pretty promising on paper. We haven't seen them actually even play together. So I also heard a rumor that they're probably going to use CeeDee Lamb for some running plays. But do you believe that? Maybe some jet sweeps or something like that? So that's going to be interesting because we got to remember Mark McCarthy is now the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And I wonder, I've been wondering this for a while since he signed, how much influence is he going to have on this offense? Is it going to be the same identical offense that we're used to seeing with the Cowboys? Or because he's hired now, is he going to add a little flavor, a few more wrinkles into that offense? That's something that we're not used to seeing for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen there with that offense? Is it going to be stale like it was in Green Bay? Are they going to mix it up there? We'll see moving forward. Who knows? Dallas, it's their decision. It's their division to lose, I think. All right, so overall, this is what the Madden ratings that they had here that we just went through. And now with the realignment with everything that we did, this is the new top 10 list, the Madden 21 re-rated top 10. And you're going to notice there's a bit of a difference here. All right, Russell Wilson takes the top spot here from Patrick Mahomes. Then it's Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Desean Watson with that 89 tying with Aaron Rodgers moves up there. Dak Prescott with the 88 moves out of the 10th spot to the 6th.
Erroneous.
Carson Wentz moves up right behind him. And Jimmy Garoppolo jumps into the top 10 spot. When I crunched the numbers, they gave him an 83. I did the overall here with the numbers they gave me. They like him here with an 85. So Jimmy G cracks the top 10 now. And you notice Drew Brees got bumped, didn't you, Joe? Because right next under there is Tom Brady. Tom Brady there stays around there. I think they're with an 85 too as well. He just makes the cut, and it was within fractions because Drew Brees, when he went down to in 84 again, you're looking at the decimal points there. So I'm rounding up. Doesn't make the cut. So Drew Brees isn't even in the top 10. Tom Brady, number 10. Jimmy G jumps in. Oh, and I forgot. Baker Mayfield's there at number 9. Look at that. Baker Mayfield even high steps in there, jumps in. From this is the original. This is the new re-rating. How about that, Joe? Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo.
What the fuck kind of bullshit is that?
And what's funny is because Baker Mayfield, they rated him at a 78. So, I mean, yeah, now we can maybe see him at that. But when I looked at the numbers that they gave us from the data, from what his throwing, short, medium, long, under pressure, play action, all this, he comes out to an 84.7, rounded up to an 85, makes the cut, and he was right ahead of Brady by a tenth of a point, an 84.6.
This is blasphemy.
Isn't
this does
funny?
not make any sense
Isn't
whatsoever.
It crazy? Usually our lists get more down to earth, but
Jimmy
here it is
Garoppolo
again.
does not deserve to be in the top 10 EA. You know, I mean, we're using their numbers, by the way, to recalculate these rankings. Baker Mayfield? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I can't deal with that.
And what's funny is if you maybe even take a look at that list, maybe that's even your top quarterbacks this season. Maybe looking at how their teams might play.
No, Drew Brees will be in there.
Drew Brees
will be in that freaking top 5.
True. Yeah, that's true. I can't believe Drew Brees on there, but they really dissed him hard. I think they really think that is the last year. They see him aging. They really dissed Drew Brees there. So there you go. There's our Madden re-ratings for quarterbacks next week. Next week we're going to do, what do you want to do? Wide receivers next week? Tight ends? A lot of people are having issues with tight ends.
Let's do running backs.
Running backs. We can do running backs next week for Madden re-ratings and stuff like that. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's always fun. We love it when Madden comes around here.
And where's Phillip Rivers?
Issues with that. Phillip Rivers.
He was in there.
He was an 82 they rate him. And when I did the numbers, I don't have the overall numbers. I didn't bother because 44 breaking sack rating. That would have crushed it altogether. His agility an 59, awareness 82, throw power 85. So some of the other stuff ruined some of his stats.
I'm sorry. EA Sports has got to grow up.
85 medium ball. You know, I mean, which I don't get either too. I mean,
EA's got to grow up. They got to stop being little kids. They got to start growing up and start paying attention.
They maybe should hire a former, like you see ESPN and NFL and Fox, they hire former players to get insight on a lot of things that they have, analysts, to talk with everybody about. Why don't they just grab some more of those guys to help with break down all those guys? especially people who like scouts, former scouts, get them involved to where they've seen a lot of these players. They know how to kind of rate these guys coming out of college and see what they like.
But when you go with a number system like they do, it's all subjective. It really is. They're just making these numbers up. I don't care how.
It's tough to put a number on somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I just think that sometimes they go a little too far with trying to rank things that don't belong there, or even giving them high rankings when they're just not that good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got Dak Prescott as an 88 overall rated player. I don't think he should be up to 88.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
that
insane.
blew my mind. Yeah.
How is
My
Baker
mind was blown.
Mayfield in the top 10?
Yeah.
How? Did anybody watch the season last year? I mean,
Absolutely.
we saw Baker Mayfield have meltdown after meltdown because, and I'm not blaming it just on him. Yes, he has weapons, but his offensive line was terrible. So that really did affect his play style, and it showed on the football field. He threw picks, and he made bad decisions, and threw it in the dirt sometimes, and I just don't understand how he's in the top 10. I just don't get it. That makes no sense. And Jimmy G, we've seen him falter all the time in that offense. As good as the Niners are on defense, they have bailed him out quite enough.
Yeah, and that's what it's funny when Jimmy
Wow.
G, like when you see him under pressure too. We saw in the Super Bowl, I think, and I remembered back when they played Seattle really close when the pressure was on for him to make the throws. I mean, that's where they had issues here and there. But for him to jump back into the top 10 and be rated over top of Tom Brady when I went through all the data they gave us here, I mean, that I think is very interesting moving forward. But the biggest diss, again, is Drew Brees going from a 93 to an 84 just on what they had given him in stats-wise.
Wow.
I don't know if I have it right here all together, but Drew Brees, again, his awareness in 98, but then I think what was his accuracy? I think they gave him over 4. It was like an 84 or something like that. So it's ridiculous.
On.
It was no, it was a throw power 84. Okay, so that's what brought it down maybe a little bit there too. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough.
Terrible.
It's tough when you look at some of that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're terrible.
Yeah, with how they grade it. So there you go. There's our EA ratings for the quarterbacks. It's definitely something interesting to talk about. So moving on, it's our In the Know fact of the day. Something interesting, I think, everybody's talking about Canadian football and other, instances going on here and them not playing, baseball in Toronto and stuff. So I figured I'd throw this out here, too.
Yeah, you know where they're playing? You know where they decided to play?
Yeah.
They're playing in freaking Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's hurt again.
Yeah, well, here's the crazy thing is there was a thought process of them going to Buffalo, and I was like all for it. Like, hey, you're still close to Canada, and you could pay tribute to Buffalo because you're going to play a short season in Buffalo. Why not? But now, no, let's go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They already have a baseball team there. They're going to play in that stadium with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Just when the Pirates go on road games.
Oh, they're going to be roomies. So.
It's ridiculous. They should have just played in Buffalo, for Christ's sake.
All right, yeah. So, all right, here we go. So here's the fact of the day here. On August 12th, 1950, the first international game by an NFL team was the New York Giants versus the Canadian Football League's Ottawa Rough Riders. The Giants won 20-6 in a game that was played in Ottawa. So there we go. It's the first international game played. The G-men went to just to Canada.
They
now they're
handled
going
business.
to London and things like that, and they're moving all around now, different games, Mexico, the Raiders would do that.
Right.
And how the NFL's trying to move forward with getting more international games. So there you go. That's our In the Know fact of the day. All right, so now we're opening up to you guys. What do you guys want to bring up? Anything troubling you about the season moving forward? The effects that the virus is having on sports, the NFL, way they're going to protect themselves. Some of the changes, even not having fans that are allowed to go. You need to wear a mask. I think one of our know-it-alls had brought this up in a little bit of a rant before. They said, check this. All right, so you guys are going to be playing games, wrestling, tackling each other, sweating, lining up all over active and stuff. But then after the game, after it's all said and done, you guys aren't allowed to trade jerseys. Like, you guys weren't just doing that for 60 plus minutes, sweating all over each other's jerseys.
Right.
But to swap a jersey now, that's when the contamination is going to happen now. Now, the actual giving the other jersey to the other player is where they're going to transmit the virus here on the droplets there. Now, it hasn't been anything that they've been doing the whole game. Doesn't that kind of sound funny?
Well, if I'm a player, why would I want your sweaty jersey during the pandemic?
They do.
I just don't understand it. So here's a good idea, guys. Just for you players out there in the NFL. If you're listening, you should be. But just send a fresh new jersey to your boy and have him send his to yours. No swapping of the sweaty jerseys. Let the guys wash those. But send a brand new one to each other. Sign it. Do whatever you want. And just send it via mail. That's it. There you go. You swap jerseys. It may not be in person, but hey, we're in a pandemic here. You got to be smart.
Absolutely. Now with the NFL, they're come to terms with the NFLPA saying now they're dropping all complete preseason games now. So because with the season slowly ramping up as they go, players thought just it wouldn't make sense to do some playoff games where they potentially could see more injuries, get hurt, they're not ready. Also, the fact that if you're trying to get this preparation and practice in, how are you going to get enough practice days in where after you have a game, they have a few rest days after that, so you're not even going to get your body conditioned in between those days too, so you'll have another additional 6 days where you could be conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, with the no preseason games, I don't know. I don't feel like it was going to be a big deal. I think they just did it to appease the players' union, kind of like a give and take thing. You're starting to see that now. NFL's given, then the players' union gives a little bit, and they're kind of going back and forth right now. They've gone through a couple of big hurdles to even get close to the conversation of possibly having a season. And it seems like every single week now, something's changing, something's happening to where they're starting to gain a little bit more traction to have a season, to be safe, to get where they need to be to have those health protocols and to follow the CDC guidelines and all that. So we saw them, obviously they agreed to testing daily for COVID-19. That was a big hurdle. They agreed on that. And now another thing that they agreed on too was having 80-man rosters. So they're going to have to, traditionally they have 90-man rosters. So if that's what they're doing and then they're cutting 10 players, I don't know how they're going about that, or if they're just having up to 80 and that's it. But practices are going to be had. So whether you're having a scrimmage or not, you're still getting athletes on the football field practicing around each other, practicing against each other. It's just not against an opposing team. So either way, whether they had a preseason game or not, they're still going to be together. They're still going to be practicing together and working out together. So there's going to be some unique guidelines in that. So what I could foresee is face masks being worn inside the facility during team meetings, during offense and defensive meetings, that type of thing. In the gym, obviously they're not going to require them to wear the face mask because, one, you got to breathe, and two, you got to get your grind on. You got to work out. You got to be in it. So same thing with the football field. So the only time I really see them wearing face masks is when kind of like, for lack of a better good term here, is downtime, like meetings, team meetings where you're sitting right next to each other or whatnot, keeping social distancing in check and that so forth. So we got a couple of hurdles we climbed over now with the Players Union and NFL. So it looks like they are gaining traction. Now, we do know, me and Jim have heard over and over again, players, we want to know what the safety guidelines are. We want to know what the safety guidelines are before we even report to training camp, before we even get to practices. And that's going to come. I know the media is kind of driving that point like, oh, they're not talking. They're not talking. Well, they are. They're talking behind closed doors, and they're just not letting anybody in on it. So we will wait until something happens, and then when it gets announced, we're all going to know, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think things are moving forward. They just, again, have to get it get the wheels turning here. Colin Murphy joins us here with us tonight. He's in the house.
Welcome to the show, Colin.
He says, how will we were just saying here, how will they evaluate rookies and of bench guys with no preseason games here, Joe?
Yeah, it's gonna
be tough.
Right.
That's what I mean with what they have moving forward. The inability to be able to get their hands on them, work out with those guys, do virtual workouts, and it's really going to be a really test to what you have as a unit within your coaches and your own, a head coach's evaluation of players and how they're doing. Some guys I think are going to get wrongly cut when maybe they had an opportunity to get it, but maybe further on, maybe next season, or we will see an opportunity to see these guys getting back into the NFL possibly, or mix of some other things. Maybe another league will try and start up and rise. Who knows what's up with these guys?
The league ain't going to happen with the pandemic going on, so we can scrap that idea. I know where you're going with that. Hopefully they could
People
move
are
on to someone else.
trying to do things, but again, for you
it's
to
too
try
hard.
and,
It's way too hard with this whole thing going on. We can't. We're worried. We're worried about getting the NFL going.
Yeah.
Let's
let
alone another league. There's a lot more hurdles for that to happen. But I think this is where you're going to truly find out what teams are good talent evaluators. It's that simple. What ones are so good in the front office to the scouting department, and finding those little gems that either was a draft pick of theirs, was either a signing that they had, and they're going to have an 80-man roster all practicing. So the practice field is going to dictate basically if you make the team or not. You have to outshine the veterans. You have to show up and show out, and that's really what it's going to come down to. It's all about how well your organization is going to develop these football players that are new to the team, and also your scouting department. How well did they do in the draft? Are some guys going to get cut wrongfully, or are some guys going to make the squad that deserve it? So we will wait and see. It's all going to be practice-based. They're going to have inner team scrimmages, you know what I mean? They're going to have 11-on-11, 7-on-7 drills, and that sort of thing, and that's where they're going to really find out if a guy belongs or not. That's what they're going to have to rely on. Is they're going to have to rely on high energy, high impact practices, and may the best man win at each position.
Basically, at this point, that's what everybody needs to play for. They need to play for their ability to be out there.
And shouldn't they already be doing that?
Yeah, I know, but there's guys that even if it's just practice, you hear the whole thing with Allen Iverson and everything. And, with basketball, it's just practice and stuff. A lot of guys don't turn it on during practice.
Well, they're going to have to now.
And now this time, they're going to have to move it up
real quick.
Yeah, definitely moving forward here with all that. Now Cody says, replying to Colin, where players like Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson will be without the preseason here. Both players first showed their talent in preseason debuts to earn their starting spots. Back when Matt Flynn had a great year with the Green Bay Packers. Found a starting job here with the Seattle Seahawks, but Russell Wilson looked good. Pete Carroll moves in and says, all right, Russ, you've got the job now too. Matt Flynn, you know what happened with that. The rest is history. And, Dak Prescott, a fourth-rounder guy, moving in to replace the often injured Tony Romo, who is, again, on his third or fourth back. So, moving forward, again, that was a great spot for him to shine. You're not going to get that with some of these guys. We saw, I think, Jarrett Stidham last year a little bit in the preseason show some plays that he could possibly be something. They really liked it with the New England Patriots within their organization, how he looked. So again, like you said, it's going to have to be tough for them to evaluate what players they have with the types of drills they're doing or the team practices that they have going forward. That's going to have to be the closest thing to live takes that they have.
Because basically it's what it is. And you know how aggressive and strict that these players take this. This is not, they don't take this lightly. Even if you're playing against your own teammates. We've seen fights happen amongst teammates all the time because they know what's on the line. They know that this is their opportunity, their one shot that they have to take in order to even get into the league. Now, yeah, of course, you're going to have those veterans that have been on the team before, that they're pretty secure. You don't really have to worry too much unless you start seeing young blood right behind you starting to make a big impression on the coaches. You might have to turn it up a notch or two then. So it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see how each team adapts to this brand new way of scouting, brand new way of developing your team, and brand new way of finding who belongs on your roster. Each team is going to have a good idea for most of the players, but it's those young up-and-coming guys, those undrafted free agent guys, those guys that got drafted late. Those are the guys that are going to be really hungry, and they're going to try to make their best push to try to make the squad.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
So
that's true, Alan. We are. And these practices matter, unlike yours.
Yeah, and the fact, like with these guys bringing up here, that you said it earlier, 90-man rosters usually, now an additional 10 guys that probably would have been on another team before now are slashed because of everything that's happening with the pandemic. So guys that even possibly would have been on the team.
It's still crazy that they're still going to go with 80-man rosters. I mean,
especially
that's a lot.
when they thought they were fearing that maybe guys would get the virus and then potentially be out, so they'd have to have guys pull.
You gotta have ammunition.
When you make these cuts, they're on the call list. Like we know Jeremiah Spicer, he's still on the linebacker call list, for the Los Angeles Chargers and things. So like even if they get in help, if they need help, they lose, like all of a sudden one of their linebackers gets it, spreads it to a couple of the others. They need them. They've got these guys that, like, we've seen him work out before. We were looking at him. Maybe we could bring this guy in, and settle it here.
Cody comes in here with a question. He goes,
sure.
"Do you guys think the Washington?" I like that. He just stopped right there.
Yeah, well,
do
that's
you guys
what the
think the
Washington
people can finish in the top 10 in pass rush of the season with the addition of Chase Young? Boy, this is a fun question, Cody. Great question. Really appreciate that. But you look at this defense. Okay, we knew last year they were a strong and stout defense last year. Matt Ioannidis on the D-line, Ron Dane on the D-line. I'm gonna forget his name. Montez Sweat. On the 3-4 outside rushing linebacker. You're going to see Chase Young opposite him. Good. Take a pick. Who are you going to block? Who are you going to double team? Because you got to do something. You might have to try to figure out a formation where you can double team each guy, because this defensive front is very scary. And I definitely could see the Washington, whatchamacallits, get into that top 10 in pass rush. I definitely could see that. Easy.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I hear you there, too. Also, that defense has been good despite the inefficiencies of that offense. I mean, look at here what they've had to do. They've had to rely on Adrian Peterson to be that guy that he has been, a Hall of Fame career, and luckily he's been able to produce here. We've seen Adrian Peterson
really, really solid.
in the top 10 of rushing still, you know what I'm saying? So he's been able to produce. They've had the problems with their running back staying healthy, the guys that they had brought in and drafted, and also lackluster wide receivers. They did not have the wide receivers they really needed. They got a few extra this year, along with scary Terry McLaurin. He should be able to take a tick forward a little bit this year, you would 100%. Hope. With 100%. Dwayne Haskins now another year into this system, shedding some pounds even too, which is good for him.
Yes.
Getting him a little more elusive.
I'll tell you right now, I saw a couple of his workouts, his videos. He looks in phenomenal shape. He looks like a different quarterback. He looks very hungry. He's working his tail off in the offseason. He's just making it go. He's going. He's bound and determined to improve in every facet of the quarterback position. So another thing too is, like you brought up, injuries. Darius Geiss, he's a man's man when healthy, and if he could stay healthy, hopefully, maybe it's this season, maybe it's the next season. I don't know when it is, but hopefully, if he could stay healthy, we've seen him when he's healthy. Very hard to bring down, breaks a ton of tackles, is an absolute beast with the football in his hands. And I would be very intrigued if he could stay healthy to see what this offense can do. They're not a complete offense. They do have Terry McLaurin, which is their number one guy, very explosive, great receiver. And with Dwayne Haskins, if he can develop and take another step forward with that offense, they could be leaps and bounds from last year in terms of productivity.
That is correct.
There we go. And we have our boy.
Real quick,
Oh,
I got something
I was
new.
about to make the introduction.
I
But
got
sure. What do
something
we got?
new.
We got breaking news, everybody.
Real
I
quick,
don't even have
guys.
the news. Where is it?
Formerly known as the Redskins, the Washington team looks like it could be renamed the Sentinels. You've heard it here first. Which is the same name as a team in the movie called The Replacements. So
yes.
we've heard
Keanu Reeves,
rumors of different names being thrown around. I've heard a lot about Red Wolves being one of those names. Warriors being a name. Now it looks like this has been leaked. Now it's a rumor, so we don't know if this is 100% true or not. But Sentinels has got a nice ring to it. Washington Sentinels. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. I'm down with it. Just it's better than just the Washington team or whatever. And let's get it going too, because we need to start a season. And we need to have a Washington team with a logo and jerseys instead of just the blanks and stuff, too. I just don't want to see any of that, so I want that going all together. Everything moving smoothly.
They'll be fine.
But I needed to bring in to a man that really needs no introduction at all, because he is the man. It's Mike Tackett is in the house with us
What's going on,
tonight.
Mike? Welcome to the
Tackett
show,
is
buddy.
in the house. Happy Hump Day, guys. With more and more states starting high school football in the spring of 2021, do you guys see the NCAA following the same route? How would that affect players entering the 2021 draft? Should the NFL follow suit? This, I think, is interesting because,
Very interesting.
again, what will the NFL do? We saw the NFL has just been stubborn about this whole thing. Let's just put it bluntly. They just like, we're going to move forward. We're going to take actions as we see fit, moving as we go. But right now, this is our goal. We're going to keep moving towards our goal the best way we can. Now, again, if high school sports are canceling to 2021 then, so that eliminates a whole nother season for some of these fall sports that they have. You're not going to see those guys. So now, one, are these teams, the college now, are they going to commit to some other younger players? Are they going to bring them in on the scholarships that they have? Or are they even able to utilize some of the scholarships they have because don't they have scholarships for other guys that they've used? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that even work?
Scholarships, it's a verbal commitment that you're going to make to a college.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a scholarship offered to you, you sign.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to have some athletes are
but
lucky
it's just
enough.
things you get a scholarship to play a sport, but then if it's that sport isn't pushed back until that following year, you didn't even. I mean, you can still go to the school, but you're not even able to play.
Right, but you're still eligible because you're not playing. You're eligible for another year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow? It's not like like being redshirted.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't play, Mike Tackett, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm on the understanding is if you don't play in the season, that your eligibility gets just pushed back a year.
Mm-hmm.
So for these young kids at a high school and that thing, this is the other thing is it's very hard for college teams. They have to also go. They have to go back even farther. For the seniors coming out of high school, they have to go and look at their first 3 years of tape, and sometimes they don't have that luxury. Sometimes there's a kid who's kind of up and coming, but he just started playing football as a junior in high school. So then what do? Do you roll the dice as a college, say, hey, maybe we'll offer you a 1-year scholarship and see where it goes from there. You know what I mean? Because they could always offer you more years. It's not like they're ironclad stuck with that 1-year offer and that's it. So there's some negotiations that are going on, and there's going to be and I think you're going to see that a lot, though, just because of the uncertainty, because maybe they're not convinced that said player is their answer, or they're looking for more information, more intel on the guy, and they just can't simply get it. We'll just offer him 1 year for now. Let's wait till 2021 comes. Hopefully we can have a season. We'll be able to evaluate him, and see if he's the real deal, and we'll go on from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like what you're saying, maybe the college. It looks like they are going to follow suit in the same way. Now, will the NFL? Again, they've seemed like they've wanted to just full steam ahead. We'll see how it goes moving forward. They're going to play this, I think, season going like week to week. How's testing trends going? And then when it comes up to the draft next year, they're going to, I guess, look at who's possibly available to play. Like you said, you have guys that even had to get move their spot back now. What does it mean for those guys that were had to play another year to be eligible, but then they had that year skipped. So does that mean that they are eligible now without playing that season? Or what is that moving forward now? That means, again, they're going to have to look back at old tapes, see what they saw in college, and like, all right, we're going to roll on this guy.
But that's the thing is college is different. It's not high school where you could be a juggernaut even though because there's a lot of kids that just aren't good at the game.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's the
college,
thing.
it's different. It's another plane above. You're usually playing against some of the best talent out of high school from all over the nation. So a lot higher competition, and therefore you can show off your talent. If you still show out in college, then typically you're going to be, obviously sought after from an NFL club. They're simply going to go at the tape before that season and look at it. Now, you bring up a good point, though, is if they're not eligible to play, if college shuts down completely and they're not going to play at all for this season, those players that were due to be in the draft after, say they were going to be a senior, now are they, or I should say, as a sophomore going into a junior for that third year, if that sophomore isn't allowed to play, do they get a bye? Do they get a pass to be eligible for the draft? Because now, from what I understand, is that rule is you need to be 3 years after high school. Mm-hmm. You have to have 3 years after high school, not necessarily playing. So 3 years. So I would say, yes, they do get a pass, and they are eligible. Now, the other hardest question for said college player and agent is, do you go into the draft? Or do you play the following season to show off your talent, show off how much better you are than 2 years ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for some border guys they would want to
try to elevate your status. But even then, even if you were a highly touted guy from 2 years ago, that was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. What's to say that you still have it? Mm-hmm. Maybe teams aren't going to be all in on you because, hey, you didn't even have a season last year, guy. Mm-hmm. We don't know if you're going to be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency
There's still
goes a long
lot
way.
of questions moving forward with this season. I'll get to that in a second here, but let's get back to Cody because he was talking about the Washington team and changing of their name and how great that defense could possibly be moving forward here. He says, yeah, I see the Redskins at around 5-11. See, he's Redskins. He messed up here.
Hey,
he
you
says
can't
here,
say
Sentinels. Can't say that.
Can't say that, Cody.
Sentinels at around 5-11 this season because I still really don't like their offensive weapons other than Scary Terry. Troy Quinn is one of their top receivers. That says a lot in itself. Possibility again, too. I mean, I think they need to.
Terry McLaurin is the answer.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all you need. That's all you need.
Who knows? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they're definitely going to try and double team him, keep him under lock and key the best that they can, and lock up the running game because that is going to be probably their strength again that they need to run off of that and defense. So I think one of our biggest questions when we handled that division, I think for them was the offense going to take a step forward here and help out that defense because the defense overall in general was doing fairly well, in their overall ratings, not a top tier defense, but pretty well. They were a bend until they finally broke, and give up games here because the offense was just getting off the field so fast that the defense was getting tired and couldn't withstand it so much. Plus, you got some of these other guys that they got too late. I mean, they went and grabbed Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, from the Giants. He was already on his way out. They have Landon Collins there, too, which isn't really working out so well, I think, for them. And Josh Norman, which I think, again, he's maybe now on his better days or been gone. So, that's what they are dealing with there in Washington. So, I mean.
Yeah, they moved on from what's-his-face? Chipmunk.
Yeah, I know. But, so that's what they were dealing with. So, I mean, let's see what happens moving forward with them.
The one thing I will say is for the Washington offense, whatever name they decide to go with, there is a bright spot in that receiving core, and it's not Terry. It's a journeyman. You know him well, Cody Latimer.
Yeah, that was a good steal, I think, for them.
He might get a shot finally. He might legitimately finally get a shot at starting for a team. And
right.
I think this would be the opportunity right now.
Oh, it's definitely an opportunity because, again, who else do you have? And we saw him he was able to produce a bit at times when he was asked upon for New York when there was injuries there.
Yeah. They do have a kid called Kelvin Harmon who displayed some highlight reels last year as a Redskin. He wasn't a starter, but when he got on the football field, he made a huge difference. So he's another type of sleeper type of receiver for the Redskins. So keep an eye on him. Him with Cody Latimer. They might have some guys that are a little bit like on that black horse type of ranking where they could make it a bigger impact than people can foresee. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. And the rookie they drafted, Antonio Gandy Goldman, whatever the heck his last name is, he's a kid. He's a big type receiver, but he's got a lot of potential. So if they can groom him just the right way, he could also be a contributor in the red zone for them.
Absolutely. Mike Tackett, he says he was watching a rugby and basketball game in New Zealand over the weekend.
Really?
Stands were full, and nobody wore a mask. Maybe we'll get to that point again here stateside. It's a possibility again. And what the problem is I think a lot of people, a lot of just strong opinions in this country too, and a lot of people are stubborn and saying, well, I'm not going to believe what you want. It's a free country. You can't tell me where to mask if I don't want to, and things like that. And that's fine to have your own opinion again.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is almost the way some people I think really should view religion, I think, in a ways. And I'm not going to preach too much for you guys and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of religious people out there. I know there's atheists out there. But a good way to look at it, too, is if you, even if you don't believe in God and things like that, but if you happen to just say, hell with it, you know what? I'm going to just do with this, believe in something better right now, because what's the worst that can happen? I die and nothing happens. I get buried in the dirt like I thought I was going to. But if you do praise the Lord and things like that and try and be a great Christian, a great person, you are accepted into heaven like they had said and stuff like that. So there's a benefit. I see this as the same type of parallel as if you wear a mask and things like that. There you go. Putting a cloth over my face isn't going to kill me. You're not hindering my right to do whatever and stuff like that. If they feel that this is going to help lower the rate and of the infection and things like that, that is the least of my worries. Putting a mask on my face and stuff like that to help somebody else's child stay healthy, an old person, a grandmother, my mother, his mother, his parents, things like that. Him and I, when we get together here, too, we're within range of each other, but we take care of each other and each other's families, and we still make sure that we're doing it the smart way. That is the one problem that we deal with in this country. That's why there's still issues between race and stuff like that, too, because people love to just poke at each other, and they get, like to hear their opinion. And when you have something different from my opinion, I can just block you. I can shut you off. I can just, throw a meme out there to make fun of you all I wanted and go back and hide and do my own thing that I want. We need to really try to open our minds and stand together, and that's the only way you can conquer this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Will that ever happen, though? Probably not.
Here's the other thing, too, and they did a study about this, is they said if everybody in America wore the face masks when they were told to, when it was a requirement to wear the face mask, if everybody wore them and followed the guidelines, it would have took about 8 weeks. 8 weeks. And then this thing would have been done. But because we have people that are negligent, that didn't want to listen to everybody, thought it was a hoax, there was a lot of people that thought that, and so forth, we are where we are. So, I mean, wear your damn face mask. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Listen, I'm not happy about it either. Jim's not happy about it. But guess what? When we go into a public place, we put our face masks on, walk in, do your thing, walk back out, get into your car.
That's it.
It's easy.
It's pretty simple stuff.
Whether you agree with it or not, just do it for the safety of others.
Absolutely. It's something. I guess we had an issue with the live stream. Don't know what happened. We seem fine here. No glitches here, but a couple of you got kicked off. Okay. Sorry for that, but you are back. It's good to see you guys here. Colin's back. Cody's back.
Welcome
Sorry
back,
for that.
boys.
I don't know what happened, but it's great to see you guys back here. So, yeah, I mean, Mike Tackett just brought up that he saw, rugby and basketball in New Zealand, and they were fine not wearing masks, getting together stuff, hoping that we can get to that. Hopefully, we were just saying again, we just did our own little PSA there, I think.
Wear your damn mask.
Everybody should just take care of each other, man. Just, settle down. Stop trying to start fights and poke people and all that stuff. Take care of each other. I mean, it's not going to kill you to just wear a mask and stuff like that. It's it's one little mini thing that is not hindering on so much. That if I can help another person, I'll just do it.
I just want to correct what I said earlier about the D-line.
Yeah, sure.
I think I said Ron Dane.
Yeah.
It's Deron Payne.
Deron. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it rhymes.
I knew what you meant.
It rhymes.
I was like, I remembered Ron Dane, a great running back.
Unlike other people, we're going to admit our faults.
Yeah, we
do.
I'm
just
Who
saying.
Cares? We make mistakes all the time.
It's Deron Payne. That's
trying
what
to think on the fly too, and then
Jonathan Allen.
There, so
Jonathan Allen too is another good one.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just super deep when you really look at it.
What's funny though is on our lads on the rosters, they haven't changed or removed the name Washington Redskins or the symbol.
That's because they're waiting. They're
waiting
for the official.
All this stuff should be
change.
removed. They retired the name. Why can't you take it off of your website?
Because they don't want to until they get a picture.
Okay,
actually, they should just put up any picture. Like put up like Captain America's shield or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Anything. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Just change it up.
Absolutely. So moving forward, we were talking about the upcoming season, and there's a lot to look at along with the pandemic. The health of everything. And I started to think about, too, a lot of people forget last year was the big decision on whether they're going to extend the season. Now, they said that they're going to add a couple more teams to the playoffs here and also go to a 17-game season. Now, is that still the game plan moving forward? Now, if it is, and you're dealing with this pandemic here, and you have, health as an issue, you have these players now that have basically no real offseason, a very limited offseason, go right into games, no preseason to get some warm-up games going on. You're going to play one more additional game, still have the same amount of rest days, the bye weeks, and then a couple extra teams now still playing into the playoffs without a bye. Only the number one seeds will get that bye week. So say if you're a number one seed, Chiefs and say, another one out there, I don't know, say 49ers again, you guys get your rest, a well-needed rest on an extended season during a time to where health is an issue and you haven't had a lot of off-season work to get conditioned. Could see an uptick of injuries this season moving forward. Are they going to maybe say, well, put that on hold till 2021? Is that going to change? Are they going to still stay with the program here and get it going? And it's funny that they moved forward to this whole thing. If you look at the stats from the last, 10 or 12 years or so, the number one seeds have benefited from those bye weeks and stuff, and now they can only benefit more to be the ones that either win the Super Bowl or at least the number one seed has been in the Super Bowl consecutively throughout even the history of the NFL. Number one has been in there.
But they should
I understand.
reap the benefits. So, I mean, that's what it's made to be. Hey, this is going to make teams fight harder for that number one spot. We already knew that teams get a little complacent. They're like, we got the number two locked down. We got a bye week. We're good, guys. We don't need to really push any harder. We can rest some guys before the playoffs and have that bye week and everything else. Now, guess what? Teams can't be comfortable now for number two. Number two don't mean squat anymore. Number one is the only team is going to get a bye week. So you need to be the number one seed or you're not getting a bye week. It's that simple. So I think it's going to be good for competition. I think you're going to see teams go all out all the way through the season. The one question that I do have is, we are projected to get this thing back in another wave in the fall, which is what? Football season. Mm-hmm. So those numbers, I feel like the NFL is going to monitor that, and that's going to dictate whether we have a season, whether they change something before the season starts. So, I mean, we could even potentially see a half season. Maybe they change it to an 8-game season. Where every single week matters. Yeah. You know what I mean? That could be crazy. Or a 10-week season or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on to see where this is going to head. But all in all, I feel that the NFL is going to do their due diligence just like they did for the draft. A lot of people were skeptical about that. Oh, you guys are being, what they call them. They called them, I'm trying to think of the word. But basically, they weren't thinking of others. They weren't
Selfish
being
or something?
yeah. They were being selfish. You're having a draft. Can't believe you're having a draft. MLB, NBA, all of them just blasted the NFL saying, "How could you dare do this?" But you know what? The NFL took the necessary precautions. They did everything right, and I think it worked out to be awesome. It was a really good job by the NFL. So props for that. And I think they're going to take the same course of action to hopefully have a season for the upcoming year. If we do start the season, I think they're going to monitor it just like you mentioned, week to week. They're going to see what the numbers are for COVID. They're going to see if there's a flare-up here, wherever. And they're going to take necessary precautions yet again. And you know what? Maybe they decide to shut it down. Mm-hmm. Maybe we don't go through the whole season. Maybe they shorten it, whatever. We'll cross that road when we get to it, but let's wait and see what happens. Not jump to conclusions.
There you go. And if you remember back in May, they made the announcement about the international games that they were supposed to be playing.
Yep.
There's Arizona Cardinals, the Falcons, Jacksonville, and Miami. Those teams are all affected by that. They are no longer this season going to be playing overseas or in Mexico. They will now be just regular home games in their own home stadiums now too. So we have that changing throughout the season.
Right.
So you won't be having that effect on everything. So the NFL will lose revenue from that. So
it's okay.
Moving forward into that again, one more issue, if there aren't enough with all this. These salary cap numbers have started to fluctuate now, and we're looking at that, and they are building massively on some of these teams we brought up a few weeks ago, like the Atlanta Falcons,
yep.
the Eagles. Now we're in the hole, it looks like, moving forward, to $50 million and plus, or around there.
The Eagles,
Joe's got the numbers like that.
The Eagles are about $54 million over
the cap so far
for the following year now, for the following offseason. So, and the other thing too is the Atlanta Falcons originally they were going to be around the ballpark 60,000 under the cap, like just barely have enough, or 60,000 over. Sorry. Now, numbers got recalculated. Now it looks like $7.5 million over the cap. So substantial difference just from after a few weeks. You know, when the contracts, they sign a player here, they do this, they do some movement with the contracts. It greatly affects the future. And the Saints, guys, after this season, if they're going to win a Super Bowl, it's got to be this year, because next year they're going to be just under 35 million over. So guess what? Drew Brees is going to re-sign? I don't think they can do it. There's going to be some big names that, hey, Michael Thomas makes a huge amount of money, but he just signed his deal. Yep. They can't get out from underneath that. Yep. That's what it is. The only way they could do that is if the owner converted some of that into signing bonus. And that could reduce the cap, stuff like that.
So all those people that wanted Jameis Winston to produce, and where are we going to see him and stuff? Perhaps if we will see some of them, and they're going to invest in him and on a small deal, get him on the cheap still, and try and get that moving forward. Having Drew Brees come off the books. And then have to work out some other things along with them. He's supposed to be moving on into his career in broadcasting and stuff. Looks like that's probably a little more definite what they're going to be doing. So
yeah, and the other interesting thing here that I noticed here is that the Chiefs, the Super Bowl winning Chiefs, next year they're going to have $10 million under the cap. Now that's just $10 million under the cap, with the likes of Tyreek Hill's contracts about to come up. They're going to have to sign him. He's going to want big money. You all know that. Chris Jones just got a huge deal. He's $16 million base salary. That's a lot of money. Frank Clark is going to be due. There are a lot of these guys that have, now that they won a Super Bowl, they're all going to be looking for the Brinks truck right now. So their contracts are starting to come up. And Travis Kelsey, guys, it wasn't too long ago when I saw Travis Kelsey get drafted by the Chiefs, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Is he going to be good? I'm not really sure. He ends up being a Pro Bowl tight end. And just like that, he's 32 years old. Towards the end of his contract, I think it's not this offseason, but the following offseason, then he's due to be a free agent. this team that we all see won the Super Bowl could change very rapidly within the next 2 seasons.
Right. They're talking about Patrick Mahomes making the investment here for 10 years with him to make sure they have him. It's going to be the weapons around them, and they're saying that maybe they could try and pin on another 4, like it's just going to happen, 4 rings, but it is go time right now, and time will be ticking. It is tough. The Patriots, I think, are ones that are kind of been against the grain to show you guys, how difficult it is, but they were able to do it well. A lot of other teams around the NFL are not the Patriots and not well run the way they are. Andy Reid, will give him though too. Is probably the next best. So we'll see how they do moving forward.
He's got to be a Hall of Fame.
Definitely. It's going to be tough to see how they can keep everybody together moving forward with the effects of all this whole pandemic and everything on sports. So
yeah, I mean that's it.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what we got.
So lots of moving forward.
No more questions? Is there any more
questions?
questions?
No more questions, I don't think.
If there's no more, we're going to call the show.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys joining us. Don't forget, if you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, you can hit us up on FB_no on Twitter. I know a lot of you guys are following us or watching us from Facebook. If you haven't become a know-it-all yet in our Football on the No Show group, just go to Football on the No Show, search it. Join our membership, our group, and have a lot of fun with everybody else, spreading all kinds of news and things and chats and the Facebook memes we do. It's a lot of fun. And on YouTube, if you guys just enjoy and you don't want to get on Facebook, get on YouTube, and you can subscribe to us there. It's easy. Just use the YouTube app, watch it, boom. Just like flipping your channels. If you have YouTube TV, just jump right to us. It's right there for you. It's easy.
Yeah, don't forget to like, share the YouTube video, and definitely hit the notification bell for our latest and greatest updated content. Also want to send out a huge thank you to a lot of the guys that support us, especially Down Monday with their music. Stephen Murray at www.voiceactorgarage.com. He does our voiceover for the intro and outro. Those 2 people, we couldn't have had the show without them. Also, from some of our most loyal know-it-alls, Mike Tackett, to name a few, Tyler Hedgecoke, Raider Bear. If you're watching, thank you very much, buddy. We know that Raider Bear helped us significantly on Facebook with us going from 530 something members to 575. So thank you very much for your contribution, buddy. And Cody Cook, thanks for joining the show tonight. Really appreciate it. Colin Murphy, thank you. Everybody. I mean, there's so many people that we could thank. It's kind of hard to come right up with all the names inside of my head, but nonetheless, thank all of you for the support. It's been awesome.
Absolutely.
You're real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
There you go. We're going to leave you with that wonderful thought, when you guys leave. So thanks a lot. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next time.